James Ebo White, or everyone calls me Uncle Ebo White. You know, what you'll be 5 years from now depends on only two things: the books you read and the people you meet. On Personality Profile, you meet the kind of people you need to meet to make your transition to your greatness. You want a program that would help you, inspire you, motivate you. Why bother to turn to other channels? Just stay here on Personality Profile and you get all the inspiration you need.
Best. You can be the King Kong banging on your chest.
You can beat the world, you can beat the war. You can talk the guy, go banging on his door.
You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock. You can move a mountain, you can break rocks.
You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you can find yourself
standing in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. And the world's gonna know your name. You can run the mile, you can walk straight through hell with a smile.
You could be the hero, you can get the gold. Breaking all the records they thought never could be broke.
Yeah, do it for your people, do it for your pride. Are you ever gonna know if you never even try?
Do it for your country, do it for your name. Cause there's gonna be a day when you're
standing in the Hall of Fame. And the world's gonna know your name.
Yes, you could be sitting in the Hall of Fame and the world will know your name. Good evening, Ghana, and welcome to Personality Profile here on Joy 99.7 FM. It's a lovely Thursday evening, and you know, when I take my seat like this, it means I've got a very amazing guest in my hot seat. Yes, sit back, relax, and enjoy an hour of great conversation with somebody that you probably would learn something from tonight. Yeah. Now tell a friend to tell a friend. And this conversation is live on our Facebook page. So you can actually check out the video and share with your friends in the WhatsApp groups and whatnot and let them know that Lexis Bill is on with Personality Profile. Look, tonight we tell a story about strength, but not the kind the world usually celebrates. Because we've been taught to admire the loud arm, you know? The visible wins, the titles, the power, the spotlight. But what if the real force behind every success story is something quieter? You know, something overlooked, something we often ignore. Tonight's guest has built his life challenging that very idea. You know, from the heat of his mother's kitchen in Tamale to the cold, quiet nights of a security post in London, to the high-stakes boardrooms of one of Africa's leading banks. Look, his journey is not just about rising through the ranks. I mean, it's about understanding what truly holds a life and a leader together. With over 25 years of experience across financial services and hospitality, he has grown from a payroll clerk into a respected voice in risk management, governance, leadership across the continent. He's a chartered certified accountant, a certified internal auditor, and an executive MBA holder. He's led operations across 10 African markets as Director of Consumer and Business Banking Operations at ABSA in Johannesburg. Today, he serves as the Chief Internal Auditor of ABSA Bank Ghana. But beyond this title, beyond the boardroom, he's actually a storyteller. In his book, The Value of the Weaker Arm, he invites us to rethink everything we believe about strength, success, and leadership. He argues that, look, the true stabilizers of our lives are often the people, the moments, the experiences that we underestimate the most. He's a devoted family man, a man of faith, a thinker, a builder. And tonight we step into the mind, the journey of a man who has learned that sometimes the arm you rely on the least is the one that carries you the farthest. Mr. Wisdom Nuworkpor is my guest.
Thank you
We
very much.
affectionately call him Wizzy. What's up, Wizzy?
Thank you.
Or should I
Lexis.
say
Wizzy.
Depot Tennis Club Djokovic? How you doing, bro? Good to see you.
I remember the day you beat me, man.
Look, that's the only win I have so far. And I'm sure I'm going to lose that win again if we play tennis. Don't you think so?
I'm good. And thanks a lot for having me.
I'm so glad to have you here. Look, I went through that amazing book that you've actually put out, which is yet to be launched, by the way,
Yes.
the value of the weaker arm. And I thought, what a great thinker you are. And we'll get actually to it, but let me congratulate you on even writing a book. What made you decide, like, oh, let me write a book?
Yeah, Lexis, thanks a lot, and good evening to our listeners. So I made a commitment, a pledge to myself that, look, at 50, I'll need to share the experiences that I have with the rest of the world. And so it's something that I had planned doing. And
Okay.
in January this year, I was 50.
Oh,
Even though I've missed my target by a few months, and thankfully the book will be launched on Tuesday, 31st
okay,
of March.
okay.
And I'm sure I'm still within.
Yeah,
the
you're still within
timelines.
it. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
basically, just to share my experience with the world, I believe that, look, God has taken me through a lot. I've had my highs and my lows, and I believe that it's about time to share, especially for the young ones. There is no shortcut in life.
Yeah.
They must go through the mill to get to where God wants them to be.
When you were much younger, I'm sure there are a lot of professions that you wanted to do. Was an author a part of it? Did you ever see yourself being an author?
No, not at all. Not at all. So Lexis, it's funny because my dad always wanted me to be a doctor.
Oh, is it?
Yes. And in my day, I think I did not get that career counseling. For some reason, I landed up in a business school. I mean, and that is how I got into business.
But personally, what was the passion? What was your passion?
So basically, I just wanted to do what my father wanted me to do, doctor. So I was just being good, learning hard, studying hard, and all that. But I got into business school, and I realized that, hey, probably this is the best place for me to be, and I have no regrets. I think God just ordered my steps, and then pushed me into a business school.
What was your father into?
My father was an educator. He was a trainer.
Okay.
He became the principal for Tamale Technical Institute, now Tamale Technical University.
All right.
And then before he passed, he was the regional education director for Volta region.
I see.
Yes.
So school there, you had to go to school
I had
and
no
pass
option.
your grades.
I had no option. Yeah.
But Tamale, is that where you're from?
So my dad is from Keji in the Volta region. My mom from Keta in the Volta region. So both parents are from the Volta region. But because my dad was an educator or educationist, he was transferred to the north. And that was where I was born. So I was actually born in Tamale. Yeah, so I did all my schooling in Tamale.
So what kind of upbringing did you have? Would you say you were privileged?
Not at all. I wouldn't say I was privileged. So we were not rich, but we weren't poor. So just a little above the edge. Yeah, I mean, we had to do some jobs like shoemaker or shoe shine, we call it today, shoe shine.
Oh, you were a shoe shine?
I was a shoe shine.
Is that why your shoe is blinking like that? Because, guys, when he came into the studio, you should see that I can literally see my face in your shoe.
I was a shoe shine at a point in time. I was moving from school to school, repairing worn-out shoes for people so that I could make some money and buy some Christmas dresses and shirts, buy some calculator for school, some math sets and stuff like that. So that was how life was. It was tough. We're peeping through people's windows to watch Akan drama.
Oh, yes.
You know? Sometimes they will shout at you and say, it's like, go to bed and all that. We didn't have a TV.
Yeah.
I mean, it took a miracle for us to get a black and white TV. I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, it was a miracle.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What did those early years teach you about life in general?
Resilience, that look, no matter how difficult the situations are, you should be able to survive. And so I look at those moments and some of the tough life I had subsequently, even in London. and all that, I believe that they all pushed me to become more resilient, to be able to survive the terrains, no matter how it was.
Yeah.
Difficult times, and I'm sure I'll share some of those difficult times.
No, you need to share. Now let's get to schooling. So you schooled in Tamale.
Yes.
Which of the secondary schools did you attend?
So I went to Northern School of Business. Before that, I went to Bagabaga Primary.
Okay.
So my kindergarten was in Bagabaga Nursery. I went to Bagabaga Primary, and then from there, I went to Bishop's JSS. Those times it was JSS. Now they say, I don't know how they call it these days, but Bishop's JSS. I chose Bishop's because it was because of its excellence. Unfortunately, they had some structural or let's say logistical issues. They didn't have enough classrooms. So for the very first year, most of us were having lectures under trees. I mean, we'll put blocks, and then we'll put the 6 inches plywood on it.
Yeah.
And then we'll sit down there, and then our teacher will be teaching us, the wind will be blowing us.
Oh dear.
And all that. Yeah. So for a very long time, for the first year, most of us were learning under trees. I think it was in the second year that we had to move into classrooms. And so by the grace of God, I passed out very well, and then moved into Northern School of Business.
If somebody told you that someday in life you'll be who you are today from those stones and the trees classrooms, what would you tell them?
I've always had faith. I've always believed that I will succeed. So I've always been very hopeful and trusted God. So we had a very good upbringing, and then our parents were Christians, and so they imbibed in us the Christian values, and we knew that no condition was permanent. And so the future was always bright. And so no matter what circumstance we went through, I was hopeful that God was going to lift me up.
So at what point did London come in?
Yeah, so after Northern School of Business, I qualified to go into the university. And that was one of the defining moments which I have in my book.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, I qualified to get into the university, and that was 95, 96. Actually, 90, sorry. Around that time, you may recall that the lecturers were on strike.
On strike, yes.
Yes, they were on strike for almost 2 years. And so the universities were shut down. They were not going in. And then instead of being at home, I got the wind. I got the information that IPS was introducing HND accounting.
Oh, right.
So I applied for HND accounting, and I got admission to go do HND accounting. So just around December, 17th of December, my dad passed in my arms. Yeah.
In your arms?
Yeah, in my arms. So my dad passed, and I just sensed for a moment that my all my hopes were crushed. I mean, it's like, how was I going to go to school?
Wow.
And he was building, so he had invested all his money into building. So there was virtually no money at home.
Wow.
And so the stronger arm, of course, were people like relatives, your uncles, and stuff like that you think that they could see you through. And I was told blatantly that, look, you are 19. You should go learn a trade. Go learn some carpentry job or some electrical job. And at that moment, I had to just revert to my stabilizing pivot, which is God. And say, God, you need to come in. Because there was no hope. But I believed in God, that God would come through.
You have broad shoulders. You could have been a mason.
So it was at that moment that my auntie came through, and he asked me, Wisdom, why are you home? Why are you not in school? And I narrated my story, and he said, of blessed memory, she said, come home the next day, and then I'll see what I can do. So I went home, and he asked his son to take me to IPS. They paid for my admission fees. They paid for my hostel fees. And she gave me some cool 20,000 for today's 2 cedis for chop money.
Yes,
so that was how I survived, and I had to lean on my brother's SNIT loan. He had his SNIT loan for it. He was at KNUST Theophilus. And then when he got his SNIT loan, he parted with some to me. And that was how I survived till my SNIT loan came. And then finished IPS, HND accounting. I got a job. Whilst I was in my national service, I got a job with Far East Mercantile Limited as an accounts officer. So I was doing national service. I closed at 3 o'clock with IRS. We closed at 4, but I got permission to close at 3, and then I'll go on to Far East Mercantile Limited to go and do from 3 o'clock to 7 p.m.
Wow.
So I was doing 2 jobs in Ghana.
Yeah?
Yes, during national service. So in November, La Palma Royal Beach Hotel was coming up, and then I went to submit my application for a job. And when I got there, the security man said I didn't have my HND certificate, and my certificate was not in. So he said...
wait, the security man told you that?
The security man told me that. So
he was the one checking the CVs and things?
Yes, he was told strictly that without your certificate, they shouldn't let any CV come through.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that was the front door. So in my book, I talk about the front door and then the back alternate door. So that was the front door. So I was denied of getting access into La Palma Royal Beach Hotel. So fortunately for us, one of our managers or directors came from India, and then we checked him into the hotel. So I got the hotel's address, and then I put my application in there and I posted it, the back door. So I was there, and then I got a call from the financial controller that, Wisdom, we need you to come for an interview. Then I said, for what? He said, at La Palma for a role. Then I said, okay. So I went to La Palma, and when I got there, I was being treated like the president. Are you Wisdom Nuworkpor? I said, yes, follow me. So I just went straight into the Chief Financial Controller's office. He says, Wisdom Nuworkpor, I have looked at your CV. I see you are very good in computing. He was an Israeli.
Okay.
Shlomo Wolf. He said, I've looked at your CV. It looks like you are very good in computing. I'm looking for a payroll clerk. I'm going to Israel. I need a payroll clerk to assist my financial controller. If you can do this payroll for me, this dummy payroll for me, you have a job. Then I said, okay. So I'm going to give you 1 hour. Run the payroll, save it on a diskette, and bring it to me.
Oh, diskette, oh goodness.
Then, you see?
Throwback Thursday.
Yes.
Throwback Thursday.
So, I told him that, look, 1 hour is too much. For this data, is too much. He says, how many minutes do you need? I told him 15 minutes. He said, you sure? I said, yes. So I took it. It was a very, 15 names. I quickly typed the names, and I put in the formula, and then I did the deductions for the tax, social security, and I had my net salaries, and then I just ran it. I saved it on a diskette. Under 15 minutes, I gave the thing to him. It was later when I joined the job, when I joined La Palma, I was told that, look, when the guy saw my work, he said, look, what have you, this guy, where from this guy? He needs to get the job. So they called me whilst I was waiting, and he says, Wisdom, I want you to start on Monday. How much do you want us to pay you? And then I mentioned a certain amount. I just doubled my previous salary. I mentioned the amount. He says, okay, you are starting on Monday. I said, no. I have to resign from where I am coming from. So give me 2 weeks. It's like, this guy, he doesn't know what he's talking about. So that's how I got the job. So fast forward 2 weeks, I got a job. I went to La Palma, and then I decided to do the ACCA.
Okay.
I got my part 1, I got my part 2, and that was when I felt that, hey, I was being underpaid. So I went to the CEO and I said, boss, you know what? I came here with HND. I'm a part 2 now. I need to be promoted. So the CEO looked at me and said, I won't promote you. I didn't understand. So that was when I started saying, I was looking at opportunities, and I realized that there were opportunities for chartered accountants. So I said, why do you stay at the part qualified status when you can get a bigger role at a chartered accountancy level? So that was when I started looking for jobs. For schools, and I got London College of Accountancy. I applied for it, and then I got admission. I applied to the embassy for a visa, and I got 2 years visa. And I went to the CEO and I said, I'm resigning. He said, why? He said, no, I'm going to school to charter. Then he asked me a question. He said, "Are you going to London or you are going to school?" Lexis. I thought about his question a bit, and I said, "I'm going to London to school." Then he said, "Okay, I give you my blessings so you can go."
Okay.
So, Lexis, and this is one of the defining moments. I had paid for my air ticket for my savings. I had 90 pounds on me when I landed in London. That day, I paid 195 pounds as rent. I paid 195 pounds as rent. And my school fees was like 370 pounds per paper. God being so good, I landed on the 4th of June. On the 6th of June, I got a job.
Oh, wow.
As a security officer.
That's right.
So I was a security officer for one of the security companies. And then, they'll post you to sites.
Yeah.
I was getting £5 an hour.
Okay.
As a student, you are supposed to work 20 hours a week. But, we were beating the system. Nobody complained. So we're doing like 12-hour shift a day for 5 days. So almost like 60 hours.
Yeah.
Your lectures were full from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we go to security from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
So there was no sleep?
There was no sleep. That was the cycle.
Wow.
It was tough. Sometimes you go to the site and then you feel like sleeping. And then you revert to your stabilizing pivot, your God. And then you quote the scriptures. Unless the Lord keeps watch over the city. The security man keeps watch, but in vain.
Yeah. Yeah,
so we put our trust in God. And that was the life. At a point in time, would you believe it if I told you that I was taking care of, I enrolled as a social worker, taking care of the elderly. Yeah, doing changing their diapers and feeding them, clothing them. Lexis, my bro.
What bre?
Oh, my bro.
Wow.
So, yeah, changing diapers, feeding them, brushing their teeth. It was tough. But the good thing about that job is that it paid more. So whilst the security was giving me £5 an hour, that was giving me like £8-9 an hour those days.
Okay.
On holidays, I make like £13, £18 an hour.
Oh, wow.
For those jobs. So if you do those jobs, if you work like on a holiday for 5 hours, you've covered more hours. Yes, more. So that was my life in the UK. And when I finished, when I chatted. A year and a half after, I called the CEO and I told him, "Sir, I'm a qualified accountant now, and I want to come back." So he asked me, "You said you wanted to go. Now, why do you want to come back?" So I said, I want to come back, but I don't want to, if La Palm is not available, you are a man of high influence. Talk to your people. If there's any role, I'm prepared to come and work. So he says, "Okay, go and think about it. Call me again tomorrow." So I called him tomorrow, and then he said, "Yes, yesterday, what were you saying?" And I repeated it. He says, "Okay, are you sure you can lead the people who were leading you before you left?" And I said, "I'm sure." He said, "What makes you sure?" I said, "I've been trained. And besides, I've done every job in that department before, and so I can do it." So when I was leaving, there were 2 assistant accountants who I was reporting to. And then he brought me back as a financial controller, and these 2 were now reporting into me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Did that create a certain dramatic setting in the office?
I believe for others for the outsiders, probably yes. But for the 2 assistant accountants, and trust me, this CEO was so good, Kwame Jampo of blessed memory. He actually coached me for like 2 weeks. Before he handed over the job to me. So immediately I landed. For the next weeks that I was in town, I was always in his office, coaching how to manage them, emotional intelligence and all that. So he did quite a good job.
Okay.
And I applied that. I had a very good relationship with these 2 people.
Okay.
We worked very well to achieve the common objective.
If you're just joining us, very interesting conversation with Wisdom Nuworkpor, who's the Chief Internal Auditor for ABSA Bank Ghana. And he's written a very amazing book called The Value of the Weaker Arm. And this book challenges a deeply ingrained idea that strength must be dominant and visible. So, what made you question that belief?
Okay, yeah. Thanks. Lexis, the question is, do we have a weaker arm? And it's a metaphor, the value of the weaker arm. We think that tennis, Lexis, I've seen you play tennis before. And you play tennis with your right arm.
Yes.
Because I believe that's your dominant arm.
Mm-hmm.
But as I watch you play tennis, I see that you position your less dominant arm, that is your left, in a particular way so that it is the right arm is able to hit the ball to get to a particular, or to hit a particular target.
Yeah, to create the balance.
To create the balance. So you take a surgeon, for example. Even though it is the right arm that is doing the incision, the left arm is actually providing the tension and the sanction. You take a carpenter. Whilst the right arm is hammering, the left arm is holding the nail with that level of balance so that the carpenter can do the job well. And that's the whole idea. And we think that we are, most leaders think that they are the best or the wisest or the smartest in the room. But my view is that, look, you cannot be the smartest in the room. You actually deliver when you have the right people around you, if you have the best people in the room. And so my book challenges that philosophy of thinking that, look, you are the wisest or you are the best. The truth of the matter is that it takes the obscure to sustain the obvious. Okay? So you see the obvious in over there, and everybody is saying that this is wisdom or this is Lexis. But the truth of the matter is that there are people behind the scenes who are pushing buttons to make sure that we have a very great discussion as we speak right now.
Right.
And that's the whole concept about the book. What are the resources your people, the resources that you have, that you are not identifying one in the first place, that you are not utilizing to get the best out of you? And I believe that as a leader, it is important that you identify these things or these resources, these weaker arms, so-called, these weaker arms, and then utilize them or take advantage of that, empower them and take advantage of that.
Can you share a personal moment where your weaker arm carried you when your strongest abilities failed?
So many of them. So you can look at it from so many aspects. Okay. You take the situation about my dad, for example. When my dad passed, for example, my dad was my strongest arm. My dad was the strongest arm providing for me and the entire household. When he passed, everything was almost, it's like everything is gone. And actually the other stronger arm, which was my uncle, which I felt that would have stepped in and moved us on to the next level, he said, no, go and learn a trade. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
So the weaker arm, who was my auntie in this case, had to come through. In the organization, for example, you believe sometimes that, look, if you ever assume that you are the strongest and so you know it all, you will crash. You will be in the ivory tower. I introduce a phrase in my book. I call it the ivory tower. You'll be in the ivory tower, which is a very beautiful place, but the truth is that you only hear words from men pleasers. They only tell you what you want to hear.
Yeah.
You will not know until the day that you begin to crash. And so you need to identify people within your structure that will tell you the truth, that is performing at that 80%, Trust him with your responsibilities. Assign roles to him. Let him do your job. Know that he will make mistakes. He is the weaker arm. Know that he will make mistakes, but be there as a stronger arm to support him.
Amazing. Interesting
You,
stuff.
you see what I mean?
I get you.
He will
totally
make
get you.
mistakes.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to tolerate that, you can't be a successful leader.
If you're
You must-
joining us,
Mhm.
oh no, go ahead.
Yeah. You must try to create leaders after you.
Yeah.
For me, that is my purpose.
If you're just joining us and you have any message, you can send it to us on WhatsApp on 055-1111-997 or any question at all as well. Would love to hear from you. Somebody just shared a message that as for the caring jobs there, they really pay. I'm a serious beneficiary. And then Joshua Tete from Pop 77 Spintex sends a message, says, Lexis, your guest in the studio's story touches my heart. If I can get his number. He said, whatever the situation, man has to survive. He has to thank his auntie. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, now you describe vulnerability as a strategic advantage. That sort of sounds counterintuitive, right?
Yeah. I'll explain.
Yeah,
I'll explain.
especially in corporate Africa.
Exactly. Yeah. So the vulnerability is not that crack in the window which would expose you. See vulnerability as that crack in the window where light shines through. You see what I'm saying? How do you demonstrate that? So let's take you and your staff, for example. You expect the best from your staff. I have a chapter, one of the principles in my book, I call it a letter to the next generation. And one of those principles is know your staff. And the question I ask is, how well do you know your staff? For you to be able to know your staff, one of the things you have to do is to be vulnerable. You must let your staff know that you don't know it all. Don't shy away from asking your staff, how is this done? You see what I mean? Don't shy away from asking them, how is this done? Are you opaque to the extent that your staff cannot see through you? If they can't see through you, how would they allow you to see through them? You should be open enough. And it all comes back to trust. You see, how well does your staff trust you? And how well do you trust your staff? So you need to open up. And I give practical ways of how you can open up, for example. All right. So one of the points I say is, look, you should have a one-on-one meeting, no work discussion or no work topic meeting. So this one-on-one is one of those that you sit not to discuss work, right?
Let's talk about everything.
Talk about everything. Work. You see, what is your peripheral knowledge about your staff? Your staff is going through some difficult times. The wife is going through some miscarriage. You don't know any. You're just thinking about numbers. You see what I mean? You're just thinking about numbers. You're thinking about deadlines. Targets. You don't know what it's going through.
Yeah.
I mean, so and if your staff realizes that, look, my boss cares about me, trust me, your staff will go the extra mile. Your staff will go. There are times that I have told my staff, look, I can see you working at 1 a.m. Please shut down and go to sleep. And you know what he told me? He said, boss, but you're also working. He said, no, boss, you're also working. So you see.
So this your AM thing is not just me that you are monitoring it. You've been monitoring your staff too at the AMs.
Yeah. So it's important. I mean, being transparent, vulnerable. Let's be vulnerable. I mean, it's a strength if you're able to show vulnerability to your staff. I mean, the basic example is, look, don't shy away from asking I don't know how to do this. Help me understand this. Okay.
You mentioned the Bozo effect.
Yes.
That's leaders hiring weaker people out of insecurity. Have you witnessed this at high levels?
It happens, yes. It happens. And for just for context, the Bozo effect is a term which was made popular by Guy Kawasaki. So Guy Kawasaki worked with Steve Jobs. And then Steve's principle, according to Guy Kawasaki, he said, look, Steve Jobs said that A players or level 9 or level 8 players tend to hire A players, people who behave and think like them, which is normal, right? Because you are confident, you want to hire people who think exactly like you. But Guy Kawasaki stepped it up to the next level, which is exactly resonates with me. He says that, look, A players hire A plus players. Because if you hire an A plus player, he makes your job so easy. You see what I mean? He makes your job so easy. A players are not scared of their positions. And so they want to hire people who are better than them, people who can perform better than them. And so you see an A player who might not be a chartered accountant, but he hires a chartered accountant. But a B player is technically good. But you will not see a B player hiring a B player. He hires a C player so that he can maintain control and dominance. So Guy Kawasaki says that, look, if you have A and B players hiring C players hiring D players hiring E players, the company tends to hire people of mediocre caliber. And that eventually takes the company into the pit, because at a point in time, the company will be full of mediocre managers. And that affects the people who are coming in, and that creates the bozo explosion. Right. I hope that answers.
I totally get it.
Yes.
So what does it take for a leader to be secure enough to surround themselves with people who may outshine them?
Yes. So in my book, I also talk about, look, after knowing your staff, what you need to do is to self-develop. It may happen at the same time. I'm not saying one comes before the other, but look, as you know your staff also, it's important that to avoid the bozo effect, you must continuously improve as a leader. Read, learn, take on the accreditations, learn the job. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
You must know the job. You must develop yourself, because that way you would also constantly be ahead of your staff, right? Because if you stay there and you don't develop yourself, the truth of the matter is that your staff would know and perform better than you.
I see.
So you must continuously improve.
You've also talked about scaffolding.
Yes.
The invisible people and systems that hold success up. So in your rise through the ranks, who were the invisible arms that made your journey possible?
Thank you. So I didn't mention my auntie's name, of blessed memory, Innocentia Fiasobo. She did well. At a point in time where I felt everything was lost, she came through for me. There have been people who have really helped. My CEO, Kwame Jampo, of blessed memory. One part I forgot to mention is that when I came back, when he gave me the role of the financial controller, he said, now, do you know why I didn't give you the job when you were part qualified? Then I said, no. He said, because if I had given you the job, you would have stayed as a part qualified accountant, because I saw the potential in you. And I deliberately said no so that you could rise. So he was a scaffolding. There are mentors that I've gone to in my career to say that, you know what, and I have their details in my book, you know what, I want you to release some of your assignments for me to do. Those your corporate reports and all that, your group reports, your board reports, let me give you the first cut. So we call it managing up. You see what I mean? So all these played scaffolding roles. And the scaffolding is simple. It's about the saying, I'm not sure who said that, but that it takes the obscure to sustain the obvious. So you see a building there, a high-rise building. It is surrounded with a lot of scaffoldings. There are pipes inside. There are iron rods. Some are rusty inside. But the truth of the matter is that to the engineer, these are the things that I need for me to have the best height, the best painting quality and all that of the structure when it is finally finished.
Right.
And so these are the scaffoldings.
Do you think leaders genuinely, leaders today genuinely like appreciate the people who make them look good, or do you think it's still a blind spot?
It's still a blind spot. I think so. I think it's still a blind spot. And I talk about, you have to be deliberate about it. If you read Jim Collins's book, he said that if the leader gets an applause, he says that, look, it is my team that made me succeed. If there is a problem, he takes the responsibility to say that, look, I created the mess, I'll fix it. But if it is success, he says he attributes the success to his staff, to his colleagues. And I think that every leader needs to get to that stage where you know that, look, you are up there because there are scaffoldings who are supporting you. There are people who are pushing you to get up there. You need to recognize them.
Okay. Yeah. And I think that at some point you're talking about what we call strategic denial. Some no's are actually redirections.
Yes.
Tell me about a rejection that hurt you deeply at that time, but later made perfect sense. I know you've shared the example of the posts that was taken away from you, if I can put it that way, and all. But is there something else that probably...
Yes. So I have about 3 instances in my book. So one of them was in London. I haven't spoken about that yet. So I was going to work, actually on my way to work in London, when I got a call from the security supervisor or the manager that, Wisdom, I said yes. He says, did you use the computer in the security office yesterday? And I said yes. And as at that time, the security officer for IBM in Feltham. So I said yes. He said, okay, the client says he doesn't want you on site anymore. And I'm like, look, if I use the computer, I use it for my academic work. So what could this be? And actually, we are always 2 security guards, alternating. So I said, did my other colleague use the security guard for some unauthorized access or something? So I called him, and he said, no, he didn't use it for any unauthorized access. But I lost the job. Because of that. And I was left with, it was in April. I remember well, I was left with just 2 months for my exams. My exams was in June. So whilst I was worried and thinking about what to do, I spoke to one colleague, Joseph Hatto. He's in Ghana now as well. He says, Wisdom, you know what? Take it as divine. Take it as God's a blessing in disguise. That was his phrase. So that message it was Rhema for me. It just sank so deeply, and I said, wow. So for the rest of the 2 months, I said I was not going to work. I was going to focus on my exams. I had 4 papers to write, my final 4 papers to write. And so all my attentions were on these 4 papers. And I went to write them, and I passed all these 4 papers. You know what? The very day I finished writing my papers, on my way to the house, I got a call from a security company. That, Wisdom, I said yes. Are you available to work today? So Lexis, if this is not divine, what is it?
Yeah.
So it's a strategic denial, but it was a redirection for me to focus on my books. On my books. Yes.
Yeah, I think we got a message from Opoku and Ida. If you can pull it up for me, Opoku sends a message and says, "I love when he mentions resilience. He is tough. As junior brother, I follow him to study at night within the classrooms of Tamale Polytechnic. His strategy was, if we bet you in the classroom, we won't leave before you."
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I saw him, yes.
I mean, you're a deacon, you're a husband, you're a father, you're a corporate executive. Which of these roles challenges you the most?
I think a father.
Really?
Yes. It's a challenge because, parenting is a difficult thing. And you need to... I thought it was a very simple exercise, right? But you realize that as the kids grow, when they get into teenage, it's a whole different game. I had to go and learn how to manage them. And I had to ask questions. How do I approach my boy? Because you could talk to your boy or your girl and he'll tell you directly that no, Daddy, that's not the way it is. And you did that the last time, and so it's a whole new ball game. And anytime, I mean, it's my prayer that God gives me grace to be able to know how to approach them as they age. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How to approach them as they age. Because you see, you've seen parents losing their children because of how they spoke to them. And so it's a very serious business, if you ask me. Yes, in the corporate world, look, you use your strategies and all that. Manage, develop emotional intelligence with your staff. I think it's difficult as well. But parenting, I think,
is very...
Yeah,
at this stage of your life, what does success mean to you?
Creating leaders. Yes, I'm motivated by seeing people grow. I want to see people grow. I want to see people, young executives, taking up leadership positions in the corporate world. That is how I measure my success. Not by the positions I create, but how many leaders I create.
If a young person listening today to a personality profile today feels overlooked or unseen or underestimated, what would you say to them directly?
They should be the best at what they do. They should keep learning, keep putting more tools into their tools box, because you would use it at a point in time. And so keep learning, keep adding tools to your tools box. You will need it. You will need it. So when I say add tools to your tools box, what do I mean? Learn new jobs, pursue new qualifications, read new materials. Always exercise the brain. Add things to your tools box because you will need them at a point in time. It will come handy when it is needed most. Yes.
Well, I think that we got a message from our very good friend Bobo, Mr. William Mamu. Yes, Bobo says very deep wheezy. Thank you so much, and for your message as well. Now, if life gave you a chance to speak to your younger self, that self back in Tamale, what would you tell him?
No condition is permanent. Never give up. And Lexis, actually the name Nuworkpor means that, look, you can do it.
Oh, yeah?
Right? Yes, don't give up. I mean, things would happen. Yes. So don't give up. Don't give up. There are tough times ahead. Tough times will come. Uncertainties will come. But know that the future is always bright.
Well, there you go. Yes. That's the perfect way to wrap up a very lovely conversation with you.
Thank
and
you,
congratulations
Lexis.
one more time on this new book. I think it's very valuable and we'll all check it out. When is it launching again?
So the launch is on 31st, on Tuesday, at ICGC Restoration Temple. We'll start at 4:30. I'm sure by 5:30 we should start fully.
Okay.
And then by 7 we'll be done. We'll be done.
Okay.
Yes.
And we're invited, aren't we?
You're invited.
Absolutely.
You're invited.
I'm so grateful you
And,
came to share your story with us, and thank
yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, and then the book will also be on Amazon.
Okay.
So actually, if it's on Amazon now, we've piloted it.
Oh, right.
It's working.
That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. That's great. Great talking to you, bro. And
Thank
thank you
you,
so much
Lexis.
for spending time with us and sharing a bit of your story with us here on Personality Profile.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah?
It's always an honor.
Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you.
Pleasure's ours.
Cheers.
I'm Lexis Bill. This is Personality Profile on your super station. Now, a bit later at 8 o'clock, the Joy Sports crew will be here with the road to the World Cup. And then Uncle Ken will be on your radio at 8:30. Uncle Ken will be on your radio at 8:30. So don't go away. The African Soul and the Ken's Music Mix, Soul Serenade, all that's coming up tonight, right after the Joy Sports crew deliver that amazing road to the World Cup. I'm Lexis Bill. Thanks to Team Drive. God willing, tomorrow we're back on your radio. Enjoy your evening, and next week we have another great conversation with for you on Personality Profile. Good night.